Whether you're a seasoned Mercy main or just picking up the Caduceus staff, today I've got something special for you. We all know that playing Mercy is a little more than just healing. It's about mastering the flow of battle. But part of mastering the flow of battle includes adapting to the many possible heroes on your team. And that's why I've put together one essential tip for every hero in Overwatch 2, designed specifically for Mercy players like you. Stick around and let's elevate your support gameplay to new heights. But before we get started, let me introduce myself to those who may not know me. Hello, my name is Sireno. I'm a top 500 Mercy and support player. I have over 1,000 hours on Mercy, and unlike most people, I actually really enjoy playing this game. My Mercy addiction is real, and I fear nothing's going to break it. So, I might as well embrace it and have some fun while we're at it. Please make sure to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoy this video. I also stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/sirenoboi, so please make sure to check me out there if you enjoy my content. And if you enjoy this style of video, be sure you're subscribed so you'll be notified when I post my next video, which I'm planning to be a one tip against every hero video. Alright, let's get started. To begin, we'll start off with the tank role. As a general tip for tanks, I believe that Resurrect is an ability best used on tank heroes when given the option. Because tanks have a bigger health pool, I believe Resurrect is a little bit more effective because it allows for easier survivability after you pull off a res. Just be careful not to stagger your team by rezzing the tank too late. Starting off with our first tank hero, D.Va. With D.Va's recent damage buff, try to focus on healing while she uses defense matrix and damage boost while she shoots. Her new damage buff makes her time to kill extremely fast, especially with damage boost. And, as always, try to pocket her when she is remeching. Helping her get Toki faster and keeping her alive while summoning her mech is key to maintaining pressure. And don't be afraid to ask for some matrix when you go for a res, as it'll really help you stay alive. Doomfist. Try your best to always top off Doom's health whenever he falls back. This will help him survive longer whenever he decides to engage again. In addition, Doom builds a lot of ult charge when he initially slams his enemies. You can typically flick damage boost right before he lands and give him an additional boost to ult charge before your beam disconnects. If you see a Doom charging his punch nearby, flick your damage boost onto him for some big value. Junker Queen. Unlike most abilities in the game, you can damage boost Junker Queen's axe and ultimate after she's already landed her ability. Junker Queen's bleed damage over time provides her self-healing, so you'll provide lots of value if you damage boost both of these abilities, as it'll increase her damage output as well as healing received. Mauga. Not gonna lie, I kinda hate Mauga a lot. Typically your healing won't be enough to help sustain him, so try to damage boost him early so he can maintain health, otherwise you might find you're stuck heal botting him to keep him alive. Try your best to damage boost him when he pops his cardiac overdrive. As a final tip, if Mauga or a teammate dies inside or close to his ultimate, you can typically use the shield to protect yourself for the resurrect. It feels almost devious when the enemies stare you down when you resurrect right in front of their faces, and you're just out of reach. Don't forget to blow them a kiss. Orisa. A basic but essential tip. Try to damage boost Orisa's ultimate because it essentially lowers the amount of time she has to charge in order to earn eliminations. Orisa deals a lot of damage to enemy tanks, so don't be afraid to flick damage boost onto her when she initially engages. Ramattra. You should almost always pocket a ram in his ultimate, as your pocket will really help him output offensive pressure. If he isn't sustaining a lot of damage, try to damage boost him. Likely though, he'll become the primary target of enemy fire, so I usually heal him to enable him to continually push forward. Reinhardt. Rein can be a little bit hard to play with Mercy. Strangely, I recommend opting to heal Rein more when he's above half health, as it'll increase the effectiveness of your heal as he sustains less damage with his armor health. If you're in overtime, you're going to especially want to keep Rein alive, as he holds objectives incredibly well since enemies will be forced to play in his range. A couple of extra tips since he's a little bit tougher than other tanks. If you see a Rein shooting across your screen holding an enemy, quickly flick damage boost onto him in order to secure higher damage, especially if they're the tank. Damage boosting Rein's charge will add an extra 90 damage to his already 300 damage pin, which adds massive value for minimal effort. Finally, don't forget to ask Reinhardt for a shield to help protect you against reses in the open. Roadhog. The simple tip is to always flick damage boost onto Hog when he lands a hook. An additional tip that I don't really hear a lot is I really enjoy healing Hog. Personally, I think you can play with Hog one of two ways. You can either ignore him and hard pocket the DPS since he has lots of self-sustain, or you can constantly heal and pocket him. Healing Hog allows for him to become a more dangerous presence, as he can then conserve his healing for more critical moments. Many enemies who push you will be at risk of being hooked, and as long as you play safe, you can essentially create the immortal Hog that plagues everyone's nightmares. Sigma. Try to treat Sigma's rock like a Roadhog hook. If you see Sigma land that boulder, try to damage boost him to help finish off the target. Winston.
Hi there.
Similarly to Doomfist, try to top off Winston's health when he disengages. Damage boosting him when he jumps and lands on his dive targets lowers his time to kill by a pretty noticeable amount. Additionally, as a niche tip, if you're low health and see a Winston in his ultimate, he'll likely have lost enough HP for you to heal and recover your own health with sympathetic recovery. And don't forget, use those bubbles to survive. Wrecking Ball. This hero will often play very separate from Mercy, but I always try to heal him when he rolls close enough to me, as you want your Wrecking Ball to spend less time finding health packs, and more time on the objective. When you see the ball winding up for a slam, flick damage boost onto him to help him generate his ultimate extremely quickly. Wrecking Ball's ultimate is very underrated, but it can really change the tide of a fight, especially if you help him build it frequently. Zarya. Many players are going to try to tell you what Mercy is good and bad with. In my opinion, it's almost never wrong to pocket Zarya. Healing Zarya allows her to conserve her bubbles for specific abilities and ultimates rather than chip damage. Keeping her alive is also key to letting her build charge. Once Zarya is fully charged, if you keep her alive, she'll likely dominate the lobby. Additionally, damage boosting her fully charged beam, even for a few seconds, is likely enough to eliminate almost every character in the game. Try your best not to let your Zarya die, especially if you see she has high beam charge, which is indicated by its louder sound and brighter and thicker beam. Every time Zarya dies, she has to build up all that charge again, which takes up lots of time. The longer you keep her alive with high charge, the more likely she is to steamroll her lobby. As a final tip, try to ask your Zarya to bubble you when you resurrect. You can definitely get a lot more riskier resurrects if you coordinate with her for protection. Now onto the DPS. As a general tip for DPS, when you pocket them, try to put yourself in their shoes in order to figure out their desired goals so you can better assist them. How you pocket a Genji may be a lot different than a Widow or Tracer, or Ashe or Soldier. For example, Genji typically closes the distance on enemies in order to get a dash combo, so knowing when to start pocketing his dive helps him secure eliminations. For characters like Tracer though, you won't be able to fully pocket her, so knowing when she's about to blink in and flick your damage boost to her can add damage to her initial dive, which also helps her secure picks. Try your best to focus on the desired goals of your DPS so you can be adaptable, as the best Mercy players can find themselves adding value to almost any scenario. I actually recommend trying out each hero in unranked games so that way you can get a feel for their playstyle and get an idea of how to pocket them better on Mercy. And if you're playing as these DPS heroes and go up against a Mercy and have a hard time killing her, try to pay attention to her positioning and how she plays so you can better mimic that in your own games. Sometimes the best way to learn how to pocket is to put yourself in the shoes of others. Now let's start off the DPS category with my favorite hero, Ashe. A lot of you Mercy players are probably very used to pocketing Ashe, so I'll give a little bit more of a detailed tip here. Ashe's dynamite is on a 12-second cooldown, so try to count out her cooldown whenever she throws dynamite so you can ensure you damage boost her at the right time. Many Ashe players are going to try to use this ability as much as possible, so flicking your damage boost on even for a tiny second before resuming healing can add a lot of AoE damage output to fights, which means more bobs, which means more games won. Bastion. These tips are very basic, but always very effective. Try your best to damage boost Bastion's turret form. In higher lobbies, Bastion quickly gets melted by enemy fire, even in his turret form. But try to remember that Bastion receives less damage during his transformation due to his ironclad passive. Damage boosting his turret form increases his damage per second from 360 to 468. Any enemy trying to fire a Bastion in this form will likely die before they can manage to kill him if you damage boost him, as he has more health and significantly more damage output. Additionally, try to damage boost his ultimate whenever you can. Cassidy.
Hey there.
If you see a Cassidy rolling towards or near an enemy, try to damage boost him immediately, as many Cassidy players will use their Fan the Hammer, aka alternate fire, as soon as they get their reload. Damage boosting Fan the Hammer will almost always instantly kill most enemies, as long as he hits his shots. Standing in front of Cass while he charges up can prevent abilities such as Sleep Dart, Sigma Rock, Orisa Javelin, Whip Shot, etc. Preventing these crowd control abilities from canceling Deadeye can really turn the tide of a fight. But be careful, because Mercy is a lot more fragile this season. Just make sure you aren't low health and consider which enemies are present before doing this. For example, you probably won't catch me body blocking a Cassidy if I know there's a Widowmaker around. Echo. In order to keep up with Echo's rapid flight, use short Guardian Angels without text in order to maintain a short cooldown cycle. This will allow you to keep up when she flies around corners or over objects like roofs. Using Guardian Angel with Echo without text will also allow you to mix up your movement if you're high in the sky with little to no cover. Genji. When playing with Dive heroes, you're going to need to get used to playing without using Guardian Angel text. In order to keep up with a Genji dive, try to conserve slingshots and super jumps for moments you really need them. Always do your best to check the scoreboard to ensure you're ready to pocket Genji before his ultimate, as the pocket will likely lead to teamfight wins. Unless you have an Ana to provide Nano for his Dragon Blade, I think using Valkyrie to pocket his ultimate can be essential for winning fights, as you'll likely be able to pocket him from a safe distance with a little bit of extra sustain. Hanzo. Hanzo can really feel feast or famine. Although Hanzo doesn't really need Mercy for his one-shots on most heroes now, it's still a good idea to damage boost him, especially if you know he's shooting at tanks. Hanzo can really be a tank shredder with a Mercy pocket, so don't underestimate his damage output. And if a Hanzo isn't landing its headshots, damage boosted body shots are still incredibly strong against squishy targets, and will likely still earn a lot of picks, regardless of the headshot. You can try your best to weave in healing in between his shots by paying attention to his rate of fire. You can also time the rhythm of shots with characters like Sigma as well, which will allow you to weave in some healing in between damage output. And of course, if you ever see Hanzo glowing blue, you should probably damage boost him, because that means he's using his Storm Arrow ability. Pay attention to the sound too so you'll know when he activates it, even when you're not looking. And unless he's getting dove when he does this, try to pocket other heroes when he uses his ultimate, as your damage boost isn't really helpful for Hanzo's ultimate, as the dragon's damage doesn't get increased. Junkrat. Try to prioritize damage boosting Junkrat in these two situations, when you're in a small room or hallway, or as well as when Junkrat is close to an enemy. When enemies are close and in enclosed spaces, Junkrat will likely burst them down quickly due to higher likelihood of hit shots. Mei. I typically enjoy damage boosting Mei when she's fighting highly mobile targets, such as Ball, Genji, Tracer, Lucio, etc. Her slow effect and beam damage, although may be low, can be more consistent than other characters in clutch situations, such as trying to clutch the payload in overtime. When you see a Genji using deflect against beam characters like Mei, try to boost her as she has a faster time to kill. When pocketing Mei, try your best to look around for other teammates to fly to, because if she uses Ice Block, you'll be in danger. So try your best to not get caught out while she uses that ability. Pharah. Like Echo, using short Guardian Angels without text allows you to keep up with her, as well as adding variation to your movement patterns to avoid dying. In higher ranks, Pharah will almost always die when she uses Rocket Barrage. So a niche tip I have is to fly to Pharah and hold down your resurrect button when she's about to die. You'll immediately resurrect her, even if she's midair. Enemies will likely have spent cooldowns and ammo to kill her, so you may have a higher chance of surviving. Be careful doing this too often though, as it is very risky. You can also try body blocking her ultimate similar to Cassidy, but you really need to be careful about not doing it for too long so you don't die. Otherwise, your Pharah will lose her pocket and will likely die soon after. Reaper. Try to remove your beam from Reaper when you see him about to teleport so his position won't be revealed when he reappears. Hopefully he won't yell out his flanking voice line though. Also, damage boosting Reaper means that he heals himself more, especially during his ultimate Death Blossom. so no need to heal him that much if he's landing his shots. Though if enemies are out of range, try to heal him since he'll be an easy target, especially during his ultimate. Sojourn. There isn't really much to Sojourn other than make sure you're damage boosting her. The more you boost Sojourn, the faster she charges her railgun, and the more she can output burst damage. If your beam isn't on her yet, but you see her glowing blue, try to get your damage boost on her since that means she has a railgun charged up and will likely shoot it soon. Soldier 76, a simple but effective character. As always, make sure to pocket your soldier during his ultimate to ensure he eliminates targets faster and doesn't die. If you're getting dove or shot at and need health in a pinch, don't forget to stand in his biotic field for some extra healing. And don't be afraid to push damage boost a little bit more when you see him standing in his field, as he likely won't need as much healing. Sombra. Since a few patches ago, Sombra doesn't get fully revealed by Mercy's beam when she's invisible. Only a small portion of your beam will be shown near your body, so don't be afraid to heal or damage boost Sombra now that that is implemented. A lot of Sombras don't know this fact, so try to educate them if they get a little crazy. Additionally, I usually heal or damage boost Sombra as soon as she uses her ultimate, as the enemy team is likely to all turn around and look at her as soon as she uses EMP. So your job is to either help her secure an elimination or GTFO. Symmetra.
Welcome.
Try to pocket Symmetra when you see her closing in on enemies. She doesn't have easy escape tools, so she will likely need extra support in order to stay alive while ramping up her damage. Once Symmetra reaches full beam charge, she deals 180 damage per second and 234 with a Mercy pocket. Almost nothing can out-heal this, and it breaks shields insanely fast. Pay attention to when she's fully charged and make sure to pocket her to keep momentum up. And when her ultimate wall is up, try to play Ring Around the Rosie with the wall so you can prevent taking damage. Sometimes you can also get some cheeky reses using this too. Moving on to Torbjorn. If the enemy team is running dive, don't be afraid to camp out near Torbjorn. His shotgun easily bursts down nearby enemies, and he shoots incredibly quickly when he overloads. Try to pay attention to his turret's location, and don't be afraid to stick near it for some extra protection. Tracer. Although I don't recommend pocketing Tracer, since her recall can easily put you in danger, I recommend putting your damage boost on her when she's close enough. Damage boosting a Tracer on payload for overtime can produce insane value. Definitely an underrated tactic. You can also try to hold your beam on Tracer as she blinks towards her dive target, as you may provide extra chip damage before disconnecting, which helps her more easily secure an elimination. Try to pay attention when Tracer falls back or uses recall and take charge by healing her to take pressure off more aim-intensive heroes. This also goes for other small, fast-moving targets such as Genji or Sombra. Venture. Try to pay attention to see when Venture is closing in on a target. Use damage boosts when they're close enough to an enemy, as they will likely drill dash. Damage boosting this will almost always guarantee an elimination. Always pay attention to your surroundings when helping Venture though, as you will need to have a flight target to fall back to when they dig. Also, try to pocket their ultimate, as I often see Venture players die while using it. Widowmaker. Seriously, do not underestimate the power of pocketing a Widow. Even if you feel as if you aren't providing much value, keeping a Widow alive and healthy allows her to take more aggressive angles and hold lots of space. Most supports forget about helping Widow since she positions so far away. Additionally, damage boosting Widow allows her to win lots of Widow 1v1s, as damage boost essentially increases her effective range by reducing her fall-off damage. She also secures eliminations faster, as she won't need to charge as full with damage boost. The scoreboard doesn't always matter. Sometimes your stats might look lower when you pocket a Widow, but that's okay. Your pocket allows her to maintain a lot more space and output a lot more pressure, which means all of the enemies will be less likely to peek, which means you hold more space. And even if she isn't getting that many picks, that doesn't mean that she isn't being effective, as the threat of being one-shot will make a lot more players much more apprehensive, especially if they can't kill her because of your pocket. Now then, let's move on to the supports. As a general support tip, always pay attention to your other support's position and hero choice and adapt to their playstyle. You should try to always prioritize keeping your other support alive, as they provide sustenance as well as damage. Knowing your other support's position is important for knowing where to run when you are in danger, as well as knowing which teammates are not an LOS, so they may be in extra need of your care. In addition, being adaptable to their playstyle will likely result in more games won. For example, if your other support is an Ana, they cannot heal targets through shields. If you see an enemy being dove by a Winston and is standing in a bubble, try to heal that target until Ana is able to do so. Or do you notice your other support is DPSing a lot more? Try to pick up the heal so that way your team doesn't explode. Now let's start it off with one of my favorite supports, Ana.
Good.
Try to damage boost Ana when she sleeps a target. Her biotic nade deals 90 damage, but 117 with a damage boost. When she sleeps a squishy target, I like to stand on the slept target, then melee immediately after she uses her nade. Additionally, keeping Ana alive is key to winning nearly every game. You can nearly guarantee that she'll survive most dives when she uses her biotic nade on herself. Always be sure to know exactly where she's positioned in order to keep her and yourself alive. As a final tip, if you're taking damage from Winston or Moira, consider standing completely still and let Ana heal you without worrying about aiming. She can typically easily out-heal their damage as long as they're not an idiot, and you won't risk her missing since she doesn't really have to aim. Baptiste. When you don't have an optimal hit scan or consistent damage boost target, don't be afraid to pocket Baptiste. He deals a lot of damage with a mercy pocket. Additionally, in a pinch, when you're being dove, you can actually get extra momentum by flying to Baptiste when he jumps with his exo boots. Flying to him midair will usually get you a lot more distance. You can also try to res riskier targets if Baptiste has his immortality field. Try asking him to immort field your resurrects for you to maintain momentum without as much risk. Brigitte. Try to focus more on healing when you have a Brig on your team. Additionally, try to make sure to peel for your Brig when she takes damage. Brig really favors drawn out fights with her Inspire. The more you keep her alive, the more your team will constantly be regenerating health. Since you don't have bursty heals with this comp, you should try to compensate by being proactive with healing. Also, it's really fun damage boosting Brig whenever she's in her ultimate, especially after she gets a juicy shield bash. Illari. Similar to other heroes, Illari lacks burst heal potential. I try to focus more on healing when running Illari Mercy. Try to damage boost her ultimate to add damage to the initial explosion, and keep pocketing her to help activate the second explosion more quickly. You want Illari's ultimate to burst down as many targets as possible to win fights, so damage boosting during this period will likely lead to more eliminations secured. Kiriko. Pay attention to Kiriko's positioning, as she will likely constantly be changing where she is located. If your Kiriko teleports in to help your team and uses Suzu, try to focus healing her, as she'll be out of cooldowns and in danger of being eliminated. Unless my team is in dire need of extra heals, I try to focus my pocketing on targets not being focused by my Kiri, as her sustain alone is typically enough to keep targets alive. As an additional niche tip, if you and Kiri are running together from somewhere like spawn, hold your beam on Kiri and fly to her as soon as she teleports to your team. As long as you have prefer facing target on or prefer beam target on, you'll fly to Kiri even without LOS. Even if your guardian angel doesn't carry you all the way to the Kiri, you'll likely get back to the fight faster than running alone. Lifeweaver. Contrary to popular belief, I think Lifeweaver's healing is not as high as people think. Considering he's single target, must charge up, and has a long reload time, there will likely be a significant downtime between heals. Personally, I try to heal more when I have Lifeweaver on my team in order to lower the pressure placed on him in order to keep everyone alive. Try to be aware of when Lifeweaver is reloading or using Thorn Volley, as your team can quickly lose health if you aren't proactive about healing enough. You're going to have a low amount of offensive output, so I try to farm Valkyrie as quickly as possible and pocket my tank or DPS ultimates in order to win fights. Though if you do notice that you're fine on heals, of course, push damage boost. Lucio. Despite popular belief, Lucio Mercy can definitely work in the right team comps. When playing with a Lucio, always try to prioritize your life and heal as much as you can. This will allow our favorite Chungus to utilize speed boost more. Pay attention to when Lucio speeds teammates in and squeeze in damage boost to initial dives. Lucio's speed boost allows for you to have enhanced mobility, so try to play around him. Finally, try to pay attention to when your Lucio has sound barrier, as you can often land risky resurrects while his ultimate protects you. But be quick about it. Moira.
Hello there.
Not gonna lie, I think Moira might actually be my least favorite support to play with this season. Moira does healing over time and has limited range, so you have to stay aware of allies that are too far for her to heal. If you don't see your Moira being proactive with healing, you need to try to stay on top of heals since she lacks burst healing potential. Finally, try to listen out for her voice line saying, "I cannot heal you yet," or "need a moment to recharge," as that means she's run out of healing and must deal damage in order to heal again. During that time, Focus on healing more since you know she's unable to do so. And due to the most recent patch, Moira actually deals more damage during her ultimate, so don't be afraid to pocket her since she heals so much and damages so much as well. Zenyatta. I personally recommend focusing on healing a majority of the game while running Zenyatta in order to prevent falling behind on heals. Try your best to heal in the downtime and focus on damage boosting important abilities and ultimates in small bursts in between those heals. When Zenyatta charges his orbs, flick damage boost onto him before he fires. Finally, focus on damage boosting more while he uses his ultimate, as Transcendence heals for 300 health per second. Since he'll be unable to shoot during that time frame, your team will more likely be in need of damage, though be sure to heal anyone who's not inside of his range while he's ultimating. In addition, if Zenyatta uses Transcendence, don't be afraid to try out riskier resurrects while he's in close vicinity, as he'll likely be able to sustain you as long as you can't be one-shot. Just be sure to communicate so he doesn't leave you. And as our current newest addition to Overwatch, Juno. As the newest character added to the support roster, there's still much to learn. For the time being, keep a close eye on Juno and be sure to heal her anytime she sustains damage, as she lacks self-healing abilities. Additionally, try to flick your damage boost onto her when you see her charging her torpedoes. You can give her a lot of extra damage and ult charge when she lands missiles on enemies. Treat her similar to Ana and try your best to heal allies not standing in her line of sight. And of course, if you see her ultimate, try to play inside of it if you're being damaged, because it'll keep you alive with 100 healing per second. And that is all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I apologize it took so long to come out. I've been super sick for the past 3 weeks and it was honestly really traumatizing. But I'm back and I'm so happy to be here. Make sure you're subscribed for my next video, which I'm going to be working on and posting shortly. Our next video is going to be about one tip against every hero in Overwatch 2. This will help you whenever you go up against a little bit trickier team comps and learn how to better play against certain matchups. Did you guys learn anything new? Feel free to comment below if there's any tips that really helped you out, or if you have any tips that you think other Mercy players should know about. Thank you guys for watching, and please make sure you subscribe, like, and comment, as it really helps me with the algorithm and streaming full time. Check out my Discord in the description below, so you can join the beautiful community that's growing every single day. Also, don't forget to follow my Twitch if you haven't already. I stream every Tuesday through Friday at 7 PM Central Time, and I'd love to see you there. I also sometimes stream on TikTok too, so make sure to follow me there. I have to shamelessly plug, it's super hard being a small creator, so make sure to support me if you enjoyed. Anyways, I appreciate you guys for watching, and I can't wait to see y'all next time. Thank you all so much. Bye!